Greetings, AMCers. This is Roth Cornett, AMC Associate Editor, and here I am in the gorgeous Edinburgh, Scotland, to talk to the cast and creators of Disney's new animated adventure, Brave. This one is absolutely beautiful, you guys. You're going to want to see it. Take a look at what they have to say. So you play Lord MacGuffin and his son, young MacGuffin, who's trying to win the hand of Merida in the film. Now, I know you probably recorded the tracks separately, but I'm dying to know if you were ever tempted to have conversations between the two characters.
We actually tried that once. We tried to go from, Lord MacGuffin to, young MacGuffin's up here, But you end up sort of ending up somewhere in the middle. It's neither one or the other. So we realized pretty quickly that we couldn't really bounce back and forth. We had to record Lord MacGuffin usually in the mornings and then have lunch and then do young MacGuffin in the afternoon. So it was too much for my brain to kind of be in these two voices,
Yeah, well, it seems like it'd be this really schizophrenic kind of improvisation between yourself at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you see the animation ahead of time, and did that help sort of feed the voices?
It did. I mean, they show you when you first start working on a Pixar film, they walk you into this amazing room full of, pictures and drawings and sketches and sort of pieces of material and plasticine models of characters and early sketches, concept sketches. Then they walk you into another room and they basically, on a computer screen, talk you through the film as a storyboard with very rough, sort of sometimes pencil sketches. Maybe there was like 2 or 3 minutes of actual animation, early animation, to give you the idea of what it was going to be. And that's what you have to go on, really. But by the end of that day, you get a real sense of what the feel and the atmosphere and the tone of the film is, and that really helps when you come to voice the characters.
Young MacGuffin has this somewhat difficult to discern accent. Can you talk about where that comes from? That comes from your hometown, does it not?
It does, yeah. I mean, Pixar wanted me to do a accent for young MacGuffin as a joke, that even the characters in the film can't understand his Scottish accent. It's so strong. And so their notion was that it should just be made up gobbledygook words, And I said, well, we could do that, but we could maybe try doing the Doric, which is the dialect from my home area in the northeast of Scotland. My grandfather spoke it. A lot of people still speak it up there. And it's quite difficult to make out what is being said if you're not from there. And I spoke some to them, and they just looked at me blankly, like, what did he just say? But there's a comedic tone. There's almost a Norwegian. It's almost kind of Nordic, the sound of this accent. And I said, why don't we do that instead? And it's real instead of just made up. And they loved that idea. I mean, Pixar is so into being specific and, and researching thoroughly. So I'm very proud that I've managed to get the dialect from my grandfather and from my home area into a Pixar movie. I think it's the first, or probably the last, that the Doric will appear in cinema.
It probably will be, because it is very difficult to understand, but it's also really funny and fun to watch.
Yeah.
So tell me, having grown up in Scotland, and speaking of Pixar being so specific with their research, do you feel like some of the legends or stories that you were told as a boy are kind of reflected in the film?
Yeah, there's elements of many stories, in here, and but it's very much its own tale. They're using. It's kind of the essence of Scotland as opposed to a real Scotland. It's definitely a fairy tale story. So it is Scotland, but it's not the Scotland that we know. It's almost like a better Scotland than exists. If Scotland could be improved upon, it would be the one that Pixar created for the movie.
Scotland Plus.
Exactly.
It's dealing with these themes of, fate and destiny. And for you, do you feel like do we have a fate and destiny that's all weaved together, or is destiny sort of what you make of it?
I think it's both, I think there's so many coincidences happen in my life that you go, that can't just be random, I don't know is the answer, but I do know you do make your own destiny, I think, as you go forward in life. And, I think it's a mixture of both. I like to believe in a little bit of magic,
Me too. As a dad, what do you hope that families are going to kind of take away from this film?
I think, the story of this film, it's very much a family story. And it's about this daughter who has a very strong opinion about what she wants in her life and what she wants her life to be. And her mother and father who have another strong opinion of what they want her life to be. And both are right and both are wrong, at the same time. And it's about them finding their way back to each other and finding a common ground. And I think families, there comes that point where, your child knows their own mind and you're there as the adult going, but, maybe this idea is not such a good idea, and they don't want to listen to it. And sometimes the older voices and the people who've been on the planet longer, they do have a lot to add. but a lot of the time the young person doesn't want to listen to it. You know, it's like, you don't know what you're talking about. And this film, the story of this film, the message of this film is about them both realizing that they were a little bit right and a little bit wrong, and there's a line, there's a path in the middle that is the right one.
Thank you so much. We're looking forward to seeing this on AMC screens.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.